And were people making these tampons, like, were they using them to be able to visit with family? Like, was this one of those things that they would attempt to do in order to have visits with their family?
Well, a little of both. I mean, I'm not a pad person. I never have been.
Hmm.
And so tampons just were best for me. And there are people that would do the same thing, but again, because that's what our preferred method of managing our menstrual hygiene needs were. But even if you have a tampon in, when you go, you still have to take it out because there's a string. And so all of a sudden they're thinking, this is going to be contraband or something like that. So again, people would turn down the visit. So making their own was really just this is how we have to survive. And then, we would make it as a hustle. Like some of us were really good about making them. And so, people would, it's an industry. It's a
Hmm.
side hustle while you're inside making tampons for people. But then again, you're making tampons for people. Okay, I was making tampons for people, as were so many others. But I'm not wearing gloves.
Yeah.
And so, at least I'm obsessive about washing my hands and all of that sort of stuff. But that's not true of everybody. Plus, there's also no way to store them in a safe and sanitary method.
Hmm.
So the you're playing Russian roulette with your reproductive health, because if you get an infection, you get toxic shock, you have to have a hysterectomy. I mean, you're playing Russian roulette and that is not something that's supposed to happen, just because of your incarceration. Um, and then trying to, we already have period, and I'm sure you're talking about periods and everything else out here as well. And we have that stigma, we have that shame for something that is a natural, normally occurring bodily function. But when you have to go to an officer and you have to say, can I need, and they look at you and they'll say, stand by, because they're doing something else. Don't get me wrong. I mean, sometimes they just don't give a shit. Oh, sorry.
No,
They
you're
don't care.
totally okay. You're
Okay, they
totally
don't
fine.
they don't give a shit. Or they may actually be legit busy and they'll say, I will get to you, and then they get distracted because their job requires them to do something else.
Mhm.
Or then they say, well, we'll have to call over to supply, and the supply officer doesn't answer. In the meantime, you're standing there potentially, bleeding through your clothes, and you can't get what you need to manage your own bodily needs.